In the heart of a bustling city, tucked away in the corner of a cafe that seemed perpetually on the verge of a heartwarming sitcom, sat Liam. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the faint sound of laughter, the clinking of cups, and the comforting chatter of patrons. Yet here was Liam, hunched over his laptop, looking like a man who had just lost a particularly intense game of chess, only he was the one who didn't know the rules. At 32, he had the appearance of someone who once took pride in his appearance but had since succumbed to the gravitational pull of grief. His shirt, a once vibrant blue, was now a worn-out relic, the hem fraying as if it too had given up the fight. The remnants of a hastily eaten breakfast clung to him like ghosts of meals past. He glanced around the cafe, noticing couples sharing intimate smiles and friends engaged in animated discussions, all while his own heart felt like a balloon slowly deflating in the corner of the room. He pulled his gaze back to the screen, where a half-finished graphic design project sat neglected. Liam had always been a creative soul. His work was vibrant, colorful, bursting with life, but now it mirrored his spirit, a palette of grays and blues. Just as he was about to drown in a puddle of self-pity, he felt the tug of a memory, and Clara appeared in his mind. His sister's laughter rang out like a well-tuned chime. "Liam, if you keep staring at that screen, you'll grow roots," she would tease, her eyes sparkling with mischief. A smile cracked his somber facade. He could almost hear her voice again. It was one of those delightful moments when the past and present collided in an unexpected burst of warmth. That's when it hit him: her birthday was just around the corner. A sinking feeling washed over him, mixing nostalgia with guilt. He missed her so much it was a physical ache, like a phantom limb. In an attempt to shake off the heaviness, he opened his phone, ready to scroll aimlessly through social media. But instead, an ad caught his eye: reconnect with loved ones through virtual avatar technology. Meet your departed in an immersive experience. He snorted. Great, just what I need, a virtual version of my sister to judge my life choices. But a curious thought tugged at him. What if he could see her again, even in pixelated form? What if he could finally tell her everything he had been too scared to say? After an intense internal debate filled with a mix of humor and hesitation, he found himself downloading the app. If this goes horribly wrong, at least I can say I'm just another crazy person in a coffee shop, he muttered, half smirking at his own reflection in the laptop screen. As the app loaded, a playful montage of bright graphics and whimsical music filled the air. It felt like a bad sci-fi movie, and he couldn't help but chuckle. "Welcome to the future of grief," he whispered to himself, his voice dripping with sarcasm. The app prompted him to create an avatar. After a few attempts that made him look like a discount version of Clara, he finally settled on one that captured her spirit, vibrant and full of life. He clicked save, and with an absurd mixture of excitement and trepidation, pressed connect. In a flash of neon light and a burst of pixelated confetti, Clara's avatar materialized before him, glitchy but undeniably her. She looked just as he remembered, her hair a wild explosion of curls, her expressive eyes sparkling with mischief. For a moment, he sat frozen, half expecting the avatar to pop and disappear like a bad dream. "Liam," she exclaimed, her voice a perfect match for the one he had carried in his heart. "Is this what you've been reduced to? Virtual coffee dates with yourself?" Liam burst out laughing, the sound echoing around the cafe. "You have no idea," he replied, wiping away an unexpected tear. "I can't even keep a plant alive." "Is that what you've been up to? Killing innocent plants instead of people?" Clara smirked, her avatar's hands on her hips. "I always knew you'd find a way to disappoint me." The banter flowed easily, as if they had never been apart. They explored the virtual cafe together, moving through kaleidoscopic representations of their favorite childhood spots. Clara teased him mercilessly, pointing out his love life, or lack thereof, as if it were the punchline to a well-told joke. Seriously, Liam, you're still hung up on that girl who thought your favorite book was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? Clara laughed, rolling her eyes. It's time to move on. As they continued their conversations, the initial awkwardness melted away, replaced by an authentic connection. Clara's avatar challenged him to confront his memories, urging him to embrace the pain rather than run from it. She made him laugh through the tears, using humor to soften the edges of grief that had been too sharp for too long. Over the next few weeks, their virtual meetings became the highlight of Liam's existence. With each encounter, he shared more of his life, the mundane, the awkward, and even the triumphs. Clara would nod knowingly, her eyes twinkling with mischief, while also steering him gently into conversations about the things he had buried deep inside. One afternoon, as they floated through a digitally rendered version of their old backyard, Clara turned serious. "Liam, you've got to let me go," she said softly, her voice cutting through the digital noise. "You're stuck in this loop, and I can't help you if you keep holding on to what was." "Easy for you to say," he replied, his heart racing. "You're not the one who has to say goodbye again. But I'm not gone, not really. I'm in here," she pointed to his heart. "You've just got to learn to carry me with you in a different way." For the first time, Liam felt the weight of her words. In a moment of vulnerability, he let go of a cherished object, a locket Clara had given him, filled with memories and guilt. He had held on to it tightly, convinced it was his last link to her. But now, standing in this virtual space, he realized it was time to release it. In an overly dramatic gesture, he tossed the locket into the digital wind. "Goodbye, my guilt-ridden anchor," he announced, and Clara erupted in laughter. "Now that's the spirit," she exclaimed, her laughter ringing in the virtual air like music. "Who knew you had it in you? Next, you'll be dancing with joy." Liam couldn't help but grin. "You should see my dance moves. They're almost as good as my life choices." And then, in a moment that felt simultaneously heart-wrenching and liberating, Clara's avatar began to fade. "It's time for you to truly live, Liam. Remember the laughter, the joy, but also embrace the future." He felt a rush of emotions, sadness, joy, but above all, acceptance. "I'll miss you, Clara," he said, voice trembling. "Don't you dare say goodbye. Just carry me with you, and I'll always be there." Dancing in the background, she winked before dissolving into a burst of colorful butterflies, her laughter lingering in the air. Liam sat alone in his room, staring at the empty space where Clara's avatar had been. The moment felt surreal, like waking from a dream. Yet, he felt lighter. It was as if a weight had been lifted, and he could finally breathe again. In the days that followed, Liam found himself compelled to act. He cleaned his apartment, tossing out old relics of his past that no longer served him. There was a comedic moment when he accidentally knocked over a potted plant, watching it tumble to the floor in slow motion, its dirt scattering like confetti. "See, Clara? I'm still a mess," he laughed, shaking his head. But even in his clumsiness, there was a newfound clarity. He started to reconnect with friends, sharing stories about Clara instead of hiding in the shadows of grief. He even tried dating again, though with a unique twist. Every time a new date asked about his family, he would share a ridiculous story about Clara. "She once tried to convince me that eating cake for breakfast was a legitimate life choice. Spoiler alert, it is." With each story, he felt her presence, not as a ghost haunting his heart but as a cherished memory guiding him forward. Finally, on the day of Clara's birthday, he returned to the cafe where it all began. This time, he wore a clean shirt, one that was blue but more vibrant than before. He ordered a slice of cake, honoring Clara's love for the sweet stuff, and raised his fork in a toast to the empty chair across from him. "Here's to you, Clara. Thank you for reminding me how to live again," he said, his heart swelling with warmth. As he took the first bite, laughter echoed in his mind, and for the first time in a long time, he felt whole again. Feeling the warmth of Clara's spirit, Liam took in the scene around him. The cafe was alive with chatter, but instead of feeling like an outsider, he felt connected to the world in a way he hadn't for years. The familiar sound of laughter blended with the aroma of coffee and pastries, wrapping him in a cozy embrace. As he finished his cake, he spotted a couple at the next table, their animated conversation punctuated by bursts of laughter. It reminded him of the many times he and Clara had indulged in silly debates about movies and music, each trying to outdo the other in their ridiculous reasoning. A smile crept onto his face as he imagined Clara's witty retorts. With his heart lighter, Liam decided to step out of his comfort zone. He approached the couple, introducing himself with a self-deprecating charm. "I couldn't help but overhear your discussion about which superhero could beat up another. I must say, it's a classic debate." The couple looked up, surprised but amused. "Oh really? What's your take?" the woman asked, her curiosity piqued. Liam grinned, launching into an elaborate explanation that wove in his personal experiences, peppered with jokes and animated gestures. To his delight, they laughed, engaging him as if they had known him forever. After their conversation wrapped up, they exchanged numbers, promising to meet again. It felt like a small victory, a step toward embracing life rather than retreating into his grief. Liam left the cafe that day with a bounce in his step, feeling Clara's presence as a gentle nudge, guiding him forward. In the following weeks, Liam found himself diving deeper into life. He explored new hobbies, joined a local art class, and even attempted yoga, though he quickly realized that his flexibility was more of a myth than reality. Each new experience was a tribute to Clara, who had always encouraged him to step outside his comfort zone. During one of their virtual meetings, Clara's words echoed in his mind, "You've got to live, Liam." And he was living. One Saturday afternoon, he received a message from the couple he'd met at the cafe. They invited him to a small gathering at their place, a casual get-together with friends. Liam felt a flutter of nerves but pushed them aside. "What's the worst that could happen?" he mused, grinning at his own irony. As he arrived at their apartment, he was greeted with the sounds of laughter and music. The warmth enveloped him, and for a moment, he hesitated at the door. But then he remembered Clara's spirit, urging him on. "Just think of it as a virtual meeting with a lot more snacks," he joked to himself before stepping inside. The gathering was lively, filled with a mix of new faces and familiar laughter. Liam soon found himself engaged in conversations, sharing stories and jokes, his natural charisma shining through. He recounted his hilarious attempts at yoga, complete with exaggerated poses that had everyone in stitches. "Seriously, I think I might have invented a new yoga style, falling over gracefully," he declared, and the group roared with laughter. Amidst the joviality, he spotted a girl standing off to the side, her smile bright and inviting. He caught her eye, and she smiled wider, gesturing him over. "Are you the one with the yoga moves?" she teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Guilty as charged," he replied, a grin spreading across his face. "I'm still recovering from my last attempt." They fell into an easy conversation, sharing laughs and stories, the chemistry palpable. Her name was Maya, and as they talked, Liam felt a spark, a connection he hadn't anticipated. Hours slipped by, filled with laughter and warmth, until the party began to wind down. As guests filtered out, Liam felt a sense of contentment wash over him. It was different from the heaviness he'd carried before. This felt lighter, brighter. As they stepped outside, the cool evening air wrapped around them. "I really enjoyed talking to you," Maya said, her voice genuine. "You're hilarious." "Thanks. I try to keep the laughter alive, especially since my sister would have loved this," he admitted, his heart flickering at the mention of Clara. "What was she like?" Maya asked, curiosity in her eyes. Liam smiled, thinking of all the wonderful memories he had. "She was the most vibrant person, always pushing me to be better, to embrace life." He hesitated, then added, "She passed away a couple of years ago, and I've been navigating life without her. But now, I feel like I'm finally starting to move forward." Maya nodded, her expression softening. "That's really brave of you. I think it's beautiful how you carry her with you." They exchanged numbers as the evening wound down, the promise of another meeting hanging in the air like a sweet melody. Liam walked home that night with a smile plastered on his face, Clara's laughter echoing in his mind. Days turned into weeks, and Liam's life transformed. He continued to meet with Maya, their bond growing deeper with each shared experience. Together, they explored art galleries, went hiking, and even tried cooking classes, though that was a comedy of errors best left unmentioned. One evening, as they sat on a rooftop overlooking the city, sipping wine and sharing dreams, Liam felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "I don't know how I got here," he said, gazing at the stars twinkling above, "but I owe it all to Clara." Maya turned to him, her expression sincere. "It's amazing how the ones we love can still guide us, even after they're gone." He nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle comfortably in his heart. It was true. Clara had nudged him toward this new life, encouraging him to embrace joy and connection. He felt her spirit enveloping him, not as a weight but as a gentle breeze pushing him forward. The next day, he returned to the cafe where he and Clara had shared countless moments. Sitting at their favorite table, he took a deep breath, feeling the vibrant energy of the place. He pulled out his sketchbook, something he hadn't touched in years, and began to draw. With each stroke, he poured his heart onto the page, creating a vibrant mural of memories, of laughter, of loss, and of love. It was a celebration of life, a tribute to Clara, and an embrace of his own journey. As he sketched, a sense of peace washed over him. He was not just remembering Clara, he was living fully in her spirit. In that moment, he knew he would carry her with him always, not as a ghost but as a guiding light, a joyful reminder that love transcends even the most profound loss. Liam looked up from his drawing, a smile breaking across his face. The cafe buzzed with life, and he felt an overwhelming gratitude for every moment he had, both the painful and the joyous. In the end, it was all part of the beautiful tapestry of being human. "Here's to you, Clara," he whispered, raising his imaginary glass to the heavens. "Thanks for teaching me how to dance again." And in that moment, the laughter and love of the cafe wrapped around him like a warm hug, reminding him that connections, both lost and found, are what make life truly beautiful. Liam continued to sketch, the pencil gliding across the page as if it had a mind of its own. Each line was a thread weaving together memories of Clara, her laughter, her boundless energy, and her ability to make even the most mundane moments feel extraordinary. He captured a scene of them at the beach, Clara splashing in the waves while he sat on the shore, laughing as she attempted to drench him with seawater. Another image emerged of them at a carnival, her face painted with vibrant colors, a cotton candy cloud hovering above her head. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues through the cafe window, he looked around, absorbing the familiar environment. He felt a spark of inspiration and reached for his phone, snapping a quick picture of the cafe's lively atmosphere, the barista behind the counter, the couple still engrossed in their conversation, and a child laughing as he chased after a stray balloon. This, he thought, is what life is about. Capturing moments, cherishing connections, and embracing the chaos. Later that evening, he met up with Maya for dinner at a cozy Italian restaurant. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, filled with the scent of garlic and herbs. They settled into a booth, the flickering candlelight casting soft shadows on their faces. "You look pensive," Maya said, leaning forward with a curious smile. "What's on your mind?" Liam shrugged, a grin breaking through. "Just thinking about how lucky I am. It's been a wild ride since I started using that app. I've really been able to reflect on my life, you know." "Is that so?" Maya tilted her head, intrigued. "What do you mean?" He took a sip of his wine, feeling the warmth spread through him. "I've been exploring these memories and realizing how much I've let fear hold me back. Clara always pushed me to take risks, to live boldly. I think I'm finally starting to understand what she meant." Maya smiled, her eyes twinkling. "It sounds like you're on quite a journey. What's next for you?" "I want to keep embracing life," he replied, his voice steady. "I've even been thinking about taking that pottery class I always talked about but never had the guts to try." "Pottery, huh? Sounds like a great way to make a mess," she laughed. "Count me in." Their laughter filled the space, weaving them closer together. As they enjoyed their meal, they shared stories about their childhoods, their families, and their hopes for the future. With each tale, Liam felt the walls around his heart crumbling further. He was letting someone in, and it felt exhilarating. After dinner, they strolled through the city, the evening air alive with the sounds of laughter and music. The street sparkled with lights, and Liam found himself enchanted by the energy surrounding them. He shared a silly anecdote about a disastrous attempt at baking a birthday cake for Clara that had ended in smoke and laughter. "Wow, you really put the fun in dysfunctional," Maya teased, her laughter ringing like a sweet melody. As they approached a park, they stopped to watch a street performer juggling flaming torches. The crowd was entranced, and Liam felt a familiar rush of joy. Clara had always loved spontaneous adventures, and in that moment, he was reminded of how she would have dragged him to the front row, urging him to join in the fun. "Let's do something crazy," he exclaimed, a playful spark igniting within him. "What do you have in mind?" Maya asked, her eyes wide with excitement. Before he could second-guess himself, he grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the performer. "Let's join the show." They both laughed as they approached the crowd, a sense of thrill bubbling between them. The performer, sensing their eagerness, invited them to try juggling. Maya took the challenge with a boldness that made Liam's heart race. "Okay, I'm not coordinated at all, but here goes," she exclaimed, her laughter contagious. As she fumbled with the torches, trying to juggle with all the grace of a newborn deer, Liam couldn't help but double over in laughter. "You've got this," he cheered, his encouragement only fueling her determination. When it was his turn, he stumbled through the routine, the torches slipping from his grasp and nearly singeing his eyebrows in the process. The crowd roared with laughter, and Liam felt alive, more than he had in years. Once the performance wrapped up, they left the park, breathless and exhilarated. "I can't believe we just did that," Maya exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with joy. "I know, right? I feel like we just broke all the rules," Liam said, grinning from ear to ear. They walked hand in hand through the moonlit streets, the city feeling like a playground full of endless possibilities. In that moment, he realized that each laugh, each memory shared with Clara, had been preparing him for this ability to embrace the chaos and beauty of life. As weeks turned into months, Liam and Maya's connection deepened. They explored the city together, shared lazy Sundays filled with movies and breakfast in bed, and found themselves getting lost in conversations that lasted until dawn. He introduced her to his favorite spots, places he had once visited only in the shadow of his grief. Now they were filled with laughter and love, and Clara's spirit felt present, cheering him on from beyond. One evening, after a particularly invigorating pottery class where they'd made a lopsided vase that they insisted was abstract art, they returned to Maya's apartment. "Let's celebrate our masterpiece," Liam suggested, opening a bottle of wine. Maya laughed, pouring them both a generous glass. "To our questionable artistic abilities." As they toasted, something shifted in the air, a current of unspoken words swirling around them. Liam's heart raced as he considered taking the leap. "Maya," he began, his voice steady but his heart thumping in his chest, "I've never felt this way about anyone before. I feel like I'm finally living, and it's because of you. I think I'm falling for you." Maya's gaze softened, a smile breaking across her face. "I've been feeling the same way, Liam. You've brought so much joy into my life, and it's a little scary, but it feels right." His heart swelled at her words, and they moved closer, the space between them electrifying. "Then let's embrace it, all of it," Liam whispered, his breath catching as he leaned in. Maya met him halfway, their lips brushing gently at first, but the kiss quickly deepened, wrapping them both in a warmth that felt familiar yet new. It was as if Clara's spirit had woven its way into their connection, blessing them with love and laughter. When they pulled away, both breathless, they exchanged smiles that spoke volumes. "I think we make a pretty good team," Maya said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Best team," Liam replied, his heart full. As they continued to share their lives, Liam discovered new ways to honor Clara. He began volunteering at a local community center, using his artistic skills to help kids express themselves through art. Every Saturday, he would arrive with paints and canvases, feeling Clara's encouragement guiding him. The laughter of the children brought him immense joy, and he felt Clara's presence in their giggles and creativity. One day, while setting up for a new class, he found himself lost in thought, contemplating how far he'd come. He was no longer the man frozen in grief, he was someone who had embraced love, laughter, and connection. That evening, as he prepared to leave the center, he noticed a group of kids painting a mural on the wall. The vibrant colors swirled together, creating a chaotic yet beautiful masterpiece. It reminded him of Clara's spirit, wild, colorful, and unapologetically full of life. "Looks amazing, everyone," he cheered, pride swelling in his chest. "Thanks, Mr. Liam," a young girl called out, her face smeared with paint. "We're making it for your sister, right?" Liam paused, taken aback. "For Clara?" The kids nodded enthusiastically, their faces glowing with excitement. "We want to honor her, like you always do." Tears stung his eyes, but he quickly wiped them away, a smile spreading across his face. "She would have loved that," he said softly. "Let's finish it together." As they painted side by side, the mural began to take shape, flowers blooming, stars shining, and laughter echoing in the air. Liam felt a warmth in his heart, a sense of connection to Clara that was both comforting and freeing. When they finally stepped back to admire their work, the mural was a riot of colors, an explosion of creativity that reflected the joy Clara had always embodied. That night, as he lay in bed next to Maya, he thought about the journey he had taken. He had wandered through darkness, but he had emerged into the light, carrying Clara's spirit with him. It felt as if she was right there, laughing alongside them, encouraging him to continue embracing life. "Liam?" Maya's voice broke through his thoughts, and he turned to see her looking at him, curiosity shining in her eyes. "Yeah? Do you ever think about what Clara would want for you? I mean, how she would feel about all of this?" He paused, contemplating her question. "I think she'd be thrilled. She wanted me to live fully, to love deeply. I feel her presence in everything I do, especially with you." Maya smiled, her gaze warm. "I'm so glad we found each other." "Me too," he whispered, wrapping an arm around her. As they drifted off to sleep, Liam knew that while the journey of grief was complex, it had transformed into something beautiful, a tapestry woven with love, laughter, and the connections that make life worth living. And so, he continued to live boldly, honoring Clara by embracing every moment, carrying her memory as a joyful reminder of the life they had shared and the future that awaited him. In the days that followed, he kept his promise to both himself and Clara. He embraced new experiences, always pushing a little further out of his comfort zone. Whether it was trying new foods with Maya, going on spontaneous weekend trips, or simply sharing silly moments that made them laugh until their sides hurt, he found joy in the simplest things. Liam began to write as well, journaling his experiences, capturing not just memories of Clara but also his journey of healing and love. He wrote about the kids at the community center, their joy in creating art, and how it felt to reconnect with the world around him. Writing became a form of therapy, a way to process everything he had been through and a method of honoring Clara's memory. One evening, he found himself at his favorite cafe, pen in hand, crafting a letter to Clara as if she were sitting across from him. He poured his heart into the pages, detailing his new adventures, the laughter he shared with Maya, and how he felt her presence guiding him through each day. "I hope you can see it all," he wrote. "I'm trying to make you proud. I miss you every day, but I'm learning to carry you with me in a way that brings me joy instead of sadness." After finishing the letter, he folded it carefully and placed it in an envelope. He knew he would return to the spot where they had spent so many happy moments, a place that felt imbued with her spirit. The following weekend, he ventured to the beach where they had spent countless summers, the sun shining bright above. He found a secluded spot, where the waves crashed rhythmically against the shore, and sat down on the sand. With a deep breath, he opened the envelope and read the letter aloud, letting the sound of the ocean wash over him. As he finished, he released the envelope into the breeze, watching as it danced through the air before being carried away by the wind. "Goodbye for now, Clara," he whispered, feeling a sense of peace envelop him. That moment marked a new chapter in his life, a commitment to continue honoring Clara's spirit through love, laughter, and living fully. As the weeks passed, Liam and Maya's relationship deepened. They supported each other through life's ups and downs, sharing dreams of the future, discussing their fears, and laughing over the little things that made life beautiful. One evening, as they walked hand in hand along the waterfront, a fireworks display lit up the night sky. They stopped to watch, the colors bursting in brilliant patterns against the backdrop of the darkened sky. "Wow," Maya breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "This is incredible." Liam turned to her, feeling the warmth of her hand in his. "It really is. Just like us," he said, grinning. Maya laughed, a sound that made his heart soar. "Yeah, a beautiful explosion of chaos. They shared a lingering kiss under the glow of the fireworks, a moment that felt magical and full of promise. With each passing day, Liam knew that he was not just moving on but moving forward, embracing life with a heart that was open and full of hope. Clara's laughter echoed in his mind, guiding him toward new experiences, new connections, and a love that felt boundless. In the months that followed, they traveled together, exploring quaint towns and vibrant cities, each destination becoming a canvas for their shared adventures. They laughed, danced, and made memories that were theirs alone, weaving their own story amid the backdrop of a world that felt alive. One day, while on a hiking trip, they reached the summit of a breathtaking mountain. The view was stunning, endless valleys and peaks stretching toward the horizon. "Can you believe we made it?" Maya exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with triumph. "It's incredible," Liam said, taking in the beauty surrounding them. As they stood there, he felt a rush of gratitude. "I wish Clara could see this with us," he said, his voice soft. "She's here, Liam," Maya replied, squeezing his hand. "In every step we take, in every laugh we share." He nodded, feeling a warmth in his heart. "You're right. She's part of our journey." And as they descended the mountain, laughing and reminiscing, Liam realized that life was a beautiful tapestry woven with connections, memories, and love. Clara's spirit continued to be a guiding light, reminding him to embrace every moment fully. Their relationship blossomed, filled with shared dreams and plans for the future. They spoke openly about what they wanted, from traveling the world to building a home filled with laughter and love. One evening, as they were curled up on the couch, Maya turned to him with a serious look in her eyes. "Liam, can I ask you something?" "Of course. What's on your mind? Do you ever think about taking the next step? You know, in our relationship?" His heart raced at her question. "I do," he admitted, his voice steady. "I want to build a future with you. You mean so much to me." Maya smiled, relief flooding her expression. "I want that too. I feel like we're on this incredible journey together." "Then let's keep going," he said, a smile spreading across his face. That night, as they talked about their hopes and dreams, he knew that Clara's spirit was cheering them on. She had always believed in love, in living fully, and now he was honoring that legacy with every decision he made. As they continued their journey together, each day became a new adventure. They celebrated milestones, big and small, finding joy in the simple act of being together. On the one-year anniversary of Clara's passing, Liam planned a special day to honor her memory. He invited friends and family to gather at the community center, where they had created art together in her honor. The event was filled with laughter, tears, and stories that painted a picture of Clara's vibrant spirit. Liam shared his own journey, speaking about how Clara had inspired him to embrace life and love. "Clara taught me that grief doesn't have to be an ending," he said, looking around at the familiar faces. "It can be a beginning. A chance to honor those we've lost by living our lives to the fullest." Maya stood beside him, her presence a comforting strength. As he finished speaking, the room erupted in applause, and he felt Clara's spirit enveloping him, her laughter echoing in the air. The night wore on. Liam took Maya's hand, their fingers entwined as they shared stories and memories with friends. He felt a sense of completeness wash over him, knowing that Clara would have been proud of the love that had blossomed from their shared grief. In the days that followed, life continued to unfold beautifully. Liam and Maya made plans to travel to new destinations, exploring places that filled them with wonder. On one of their trips to a small coastal town, they stumbled upon a quaint gallery showcasing local artists. As they wandered through the space, admiring the vibrant artwork, Liam felt a tug at his heart. "Would you ever consider showcasing your work?" Maya asked, gesturing to the walls filled with colorful paintings. Liam paused, a mix of excitement and anxiety swirling within him. "I've thought about it, but I've always been too scared." "Why not take the leap?" Maya encouraged, her eyes shining with belief. "You've come so far. Your art deserves to be seen." Inspired by her words, he began to envision a future where his work could be shared with others. It felt like a dream he had buried beneath the weight of grief, and now it was bubbling to the surface, begging to be realized. Returning home, Liam began to work on a collection of pieces that reflected his journey. Each brushstroke became a celebration of love, loss, and the vibrant life he was building with Maya. Weeks turned into months as he poured his heart into the artwork, and when he finally felt ready, he approached the gallery owner about showcasing his collection. The night of the opening reception was filled with excitement. Friends, family, and community members gathered to celebrate his work. Maya stood by his side, beaming with pride, her unwavering support a source of strength. As people moved through the gallery, admiring his pieces, Liam felt a rush of emotions. This was it, he was sharing his story with the world, and Clara's spirit was with him every step of the way. When someone approached him with tears in their eyes, saying how his art had resonated with their own experiences, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. "Thank you for sharing your heart," they said. Liam smiled, realizing that this was the legacy he wanted to create, not just for Clara, but for himself. He was building connections through art, laughter, and love, and it felt like the most beautiful tribute he could offer. As the night came to a close, he and Maya stood outside, the stars twinkling above. "I can't believe you did it," she said, her voice full of wonder. "I couldn't have done it without you," he replied, pulling her close. "You pushed me to embrace this journey." They stood there in silence for a moment, basking in the beauty of the night, before Liam turned to her, his heart full. "You know, I want to keep moving forward. Together." Maya smiled, her eyes shining. "Together." And in that moment, beneath the stars, they sealed their commitment to one another, a promise to embrace life fully, to honor Clara's memory by living boldly, and to continue creating beautiful connections that would last a lifetime. Liam felt a sense of peace wash over him, knowing that he had transformed his grief into something vibrant and alive. Clara's laughter echoed in his heart, guiding him toward a future filled with love, art, and endless possibilities. In the months that followed, they continued to build their lives together, supporting one another through challenges and celebrating victories. They took spontaneous trips, tried new activities, and deepened their connection with each passing day. Liam often found himself reflecting on the journey he had taken, from the depths of sorrow to the heights of joy. It was a transformation he had never anticipated, but one that felt utterly right. Clara had always believed in the power of love and connection, and now he was living that truth every day. One afternoon, as they walked through a local farmer's market, Maya stopped to admire a stall filled with handmade pottery. "Look at these," she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. Liam joined her, admiring the colorful creations. "They're beautiful," he said, picking up a small vase that caught his eye. "Hey, remember our first pottery class?" Maya laughed, her cheeks flushing. "That disaster of a vase we made? How could I forget?" Liam chuckled. "We should get this as a reminder of our artistic prowess." "Definitely," she agreed, her laughter contagious. As they purchased the vase, Liam felt a surge of love for Maya. She had become his anchor, the person who brought out the best in him and encouraged him to embrace life wholeheartedly. Later that evening, they settled into their cozy apartment, the vase proudly displayed on the kitchen table. "Maya," Liam began, his voice softening, "there's something I've been thinking about." "Okay, what is it?" He took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "I want to build a future with you. I can't imagine my life without you. You've shown me how to love again, how to embrace joy after loss." Maya looked at him, her eyes wide with surprise. "Liam, I feel the same way. You've changed my life." "Then let's take that leap together," he said, his heart racing. "I want us to make this official. I want to be your partner in everything." Maya smiled, her face lighting up with happiness. "Yes. I want that too. You have no idea how much this means to me." They embraced, holding each other tightly as the warmth of their love enveloped them. In that moment, Liam knew he had found his place in the world, a place filled with love, laughter, and the beautiful memories of those they had lost. As they continued their journey together, they took the time to reflect on their pasts, finding joy in the shared experiences that had shaped them. Liam often returned to his art, using it as a medium to express the complex emotions that came with love and loss. He started a new series focused on transformation, pieces that symbolized growth, healing, and the beauty of connection. Each canvas told a story, weaving together themes of love, loss, and the laughter that had carried him through the darkest times. During a gallery showing, one of the pieces caught Maya's eye, a vibrant painting of a blossoming tree with roots intertwining beneath the surface. "Wow, this is stunning," she said, her voice filled with awe. "What inspired you?" "It represents growth," he explained, his heart swelling. "How we can nurture our roots, even after loss, and allow ourselves to bloom again." Maya nodded, her eyes glistening with understanding. "I love that. It's a beautiful reminder of how far we've come together." With each passing day, Liam felt Clara's presence alongside him, encouraging him to embrace love and life. He had transformed his grief into a celebration of life, honoring the memory of those he had lost while fully investing in the relationships that brought him joy. As their love deepened, Liam found himself looking toward the future with hope. He envisioned a life filled with laughter, adventure, and the promise of new beginnings. One sunny afternoon, they decided to take a trip to the beach, where Clara had always found peace. Sitting on the shore, watching the waves roll in, Liam felt a sense of tranquility wash over him. "Maya," he began, turning to her, "I want to make a promise to you." Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "What kind of promise?" "To embrace life every single day. To love fiercely, laugh often, and never take a moment for granted." "I promise to do the same," she replied, her voice filled with warmth. They sat in silence for a moment, letting the sound of the waves fill the space between them. In that moment, Liam knew that he had found something truly special, a connection that would carry him through life, a bond that was built on love, laughter, and the shared experiences that made every day an adventure. As they walked along the shoreline, hand in hand, Liam took a deep breath, feeling the salt air fill his lungs. He was living fully, honoring Clara by creating new memories with Maya, and embracing every twist and turn that life had to offer. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, and Liam felt a surge of gratitude wash over him. Life was a beautiful journey, and he was finally ready to embrace it all, every moment, every connection, every ounce of joy. And so, he continued to create, to laugh, and to love, knowing that the spirit of Clara lived on in every brushstroke, every memory, and every heartbeat. Liam's journey was far from over, but he had learned to navigate life's challenges with grace, and he was ready to face whatever came next, hand in hand with Maya, and forever carrying Clara's spirit in his heart. With love as his guiding light, Liam knew that the connections he formed would always bring him home, no matter where life led him. As the stars twinkled above them, he whispered into the night, "Here's to you, Clara. Thank you for teaching me how to dance again." And in that moment, he felt her presence wrapping around him, a gentle reminder that love transcends even the most profound loss, connecting us all in a beautiful tapestry of life. The story ends here.